The cover of your book, sir, has this beautiful picture, and it resonates with the title Vision of Yoga. The book almost reads like an inner odyssey, like an inner journey.
Copy that.
So, sir, your book reads almost like an inner odyssey. Could you share with us how your own life journey across continents and disciplines shaped this unique way of looking at yoga?
You want to know how yoga has shaped my life, right? You know, yoga is not a static thing. From the day you start practicing yoga, gradually you absorb it. It takes many, many years. And then once it is not something like storing something in the cupboard. It changes you gradually, gradually. And then your value systems get modified, your relationship with others get modified, your ability to grasp things, think about it, and your passions, emotions, everything changes. So obviously, as yoga develops, personality changes. So everything is affected, certainly. Except that when you are in formative years, you take a job which is of such responsibility that you have no time at all, because you have to do justice to the job. That time it's in a latent period. So during all these years when I was with the World Health Organization in 2 or 3 continental offices, my yogic life was a kind of a latent life. It's only after I retired, it was reactivated with full vigor.
Right, sir. But that journey in the book, that journey is like a vision. How did that vision come to you?
I'll tell you. You know, there is a famous saying, as you once quoted there when talking in the morning, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And picture, the image and its impact on the brain has been studied for long. It's about 200 years of psychologists and linguists and communication specialists are all analyzing. And they think that looking at a picture and remembering is about twice as good as reading it. And in reading, again, you forget. So they have invented many things like 2-7-20 system. You know what is 2-27 system? So if you don't want to forget something, you remember it again on the second day and go ahead with fully rehearse it. And on the 7th day, you do it again. And then on the 20th day, you go again. Then these 3 processes will enable you to remember anything. Somebody's name, somebody's incident, and this is the modern thing. But as far as image is concerned, and what happens in memory when you spoken memory, read memory, something in the books to be remembered, it is stored in the temporal lobe. Whereas if you see a picture or an image, and especially if you are the creator of that image, then it is at least 3-4 sites in the brain get automatically impinged. The temporal lobe, the occipital lobe, and so you are unlikely to forget. And this image system and its impact on the brain was known to our ancestors. I remember reading Sanat Kumar tradition. Sanat Kumar is as old as civilization. You know, you remember Sanat Kumars. What are Sanat Kumars?
They are the Manasputra of Brahma.
Yes. And Sanat Kumar said that if you want to purify yourself, there is in yoga a step in that called as Saucha. Saucha means the purity. And what you do in purity is to imagine that the water is falling on my head and it is rising from the foot of a divinity. Tatpadodakasa dharantu nipatanti swamurdhini. And then the operative word is chintayet. That means you imagine. You bring image comes. Chintayet brahmarandrena pravishanti swakam dhanu. It trickles, gets into the purifying water. Taya prakshalet sarvam antardeha gatam malam. That means you take it and wash all the dirt and all the bad thoughts and all that is undesirable from your body, and you are purified. This is called as antasnan. So here, see, if you imagine, the whole process is an image. It's not a description at all. So, right from the beginning, there are what are people called as, there are 90% of the people in the audience are auditives. They like to hear and remember, or read and remember. But 10% of the people are born with as visuals. They think in terms of images. And that's a blessing. And people who are auditives can become visuals by practicing this thing. And if you become a visual, you think in terms of images. So when I do Patanjali's Yoga Shastra practice, I imagine every step, there are steps after all. Ashtanga Yoga is steps, 8 steps. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama on one side, which qualify you for yoga. And then there is a thing, mysterious thing called Pratyahar. How many of you are familiar with this? Good, a good number. Now that Pratyahar is the thing that separates the material from the spiritual. And it doesn't come, it may take a lifetime. But moving the material from material to spiritual thing is the starting of a purification process of your soul. And what is that involve mainly? It involves control over your sense objects. As soon as somebody brings you a peda, the mind says, I want it. If you see, what is that called as? Anjeer Rabdi of Pune. If you feel like not resisting at all. And here, remember, what happens is, the mind covets what its eyes perceive. That means, if you see that thing, you want it. But if you don't see it, there is no desire. So the trick of Pratyahar is to separate sense organs from sense objects. And once you succeed in that, you have started doing this. And that is Pratyahar. Now, when I thought of Pratyahar, I thought of Yama as a mountain. I rise on this. Then there is the first hill which says Ahimsa. Then I begin to think about Ahimsa in terms of a visual image. What is Ahimsa? Ahimsa means thou shalt not harm anybody. But when harm is not physical harm, one small thing, one small body movement, one small body gesture can insult you. You can look at contemptuously at somebody. Or you can say that, I can sit and smile when you are arguing, saying that you are a fool. Right? So all that kind of a thing of hurting others should be forbidden totally. After all, you have a soul, he has a soul. He has antaryami and you have antaryami. So respect that person, whatever he is, whatever she is. And that is the beginning of learning Pratyahar. So I thought that it's not a mountain at all. Yama is a mountain. Niyamas are definitely because there's a set of rules, righteous rules for good behavior. Swadhyaya, little faith in God, asteya, and all this. Right. And then asanas are, of course, a mountain. You have to learn all the asanas, the stretch exercises. You have superb control over your muscles. And it's not for building muscles, for building body and mind. Sharira madhyam khalu dharma sadhanam. If your body is sound, your mind is sound. And so that is very important step, asanas. And then pranayam, it's mystery and wonder, because if you know the correct procedures of pranayam and the spirit of the pranayam, they are energizing. The whole energy system is based on activating prana. And this in India is a tradition itself. Nadi Shastra, Prana Shastra, Prani Shastra, chakras, gestures, and all these things are a part of our culture. And that pranayam is certainly a mountain. And pranayam has got many, many wonders. If you are prone to getting cold, etc., you do Surya Bedi. And if you are disturbed in mind inside, and you have some kind of a hypothyroidism, you do Chandra Bedi, and they are all practically be verified. We always say that there are no spectacular treatments in Ayurveda. Pranayam is one thing where you can demonstrate. When you were there for 4 months, I used to get periodical hypertension. How much? 190 or something like 110. And that will be, somebody getting like that, will get panic. Then I said, Girish, wait. So I used to do pranayam. Yeah. And in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, blood pressure is normal. Right?
Yes.
So that kind of a pranayam is a mountain you have to conquer. You have to conquer and know it well. So these are 4 mountains. What is pratyahar? I conceived it as a bridge from the material to the spiritual. In between, there is a river which is unnavigable. There are sharp stones. The bridge itself is made of frayed ropes. Every step it shakes, something gives in the way, as if it is going to break. And then it is swaying and wind is blowing and there is a mist across, so I can't see my next step. Am I going to crash down? That's the end of me. Then I go again to learn. So, pratyahar is the river of uncrossable river. What are you crossing? From sensory world to the spiritual world. And that's the beginning. And where you land? At the dharana platform. That's the next mountain. Dharana, laser-like concentration in life. That's the mountain. Then from there, higher kind of one concentration, meditation, dhyana. And then, of course, there is samadhi mountain, which very few people can reach in their life, or even 2 lives. And that's notional only. Because nobody has told us what happens after you climb. Because it's a kind of a mukti, it's independent, it's a complete liberation. And when you reach that, nacha punaravritti, you don't come back, your life is over. And now you are resting in the exquisite pleasure of nearest him. So this is how I conceived all this. And then the picture had to be written in the book. How do you do that? Then I learned computers. Then I used a computer language and it became a hobby, absorbing hobby. If you can generate a prompt properly to describe what is in your mind, then computer can write that as better than an artist. And so I drew a picture of pratyahar. I don't know how many of you are able to see it, but I invite all of you to pass it on. This is pratyahar. 4 mountains, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, and then there are less distinct 3 mountains, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, whose top is cannot be seen. हे घेऊन जा कोणीतरी. And of course, artificial intelligence has a bad name because, it's not supposed to be very original. But I think one day all books will be written by artificial. Even every author now takes advantage of artificial this thing. But for commercial purposes, in journal articles, for example, you have to make a declaration that you are not using artificial intelligence. But artificial intelligence is a tool. It cannot produce any original ideas. Sometimes it gives you erroneous. So, human brain is guiding a tool. That is how I look upon it. And so long as I write books neither for fame nor for money, this is all right, okay with me. No. So this is what I am telling you. Imagery is the basis of my book. And where does the imagery come from? Every time I do a yoga exercise, when I do practice of yoga, those images come. I am sitting looking at my backyard, there is a beautiful pond there, and then you become sleepy, and then suddenly you are carried out on a mountain and the quest begins. That's how I practice yoga.
Many of the audience, they would like to know the secret of your
Of
health,
what?
secret of your health, energy, vitality.
Do you really? It's a long story. I will cut it short. Up to 1990, not 1990, 2019, I was in fairly good health. That is because, as they say, I chose my parents carefully. That means hereditary. So my father was up to 98, and at the age of 90, he will go to his farm riding a bicycle for 25 miles. And my mother was 92, and they made me what I am, but their health was exemplary. So I must have inherited good genes. But it was not so easy. Our family was a bed of bad luck. My mother lost 6 children between my eldest brother and myself. So faith came in between. So she did this navas. That means, we are all devotees of Raghavendra Swami from Andhra Pradesh, Mantralaya. And in Mantralaya, she said, if this child lives, he is yours. And I was aware of all this because they used to tell me, you are a special child and all this thing. And then, unlike my brothers, at the age of 2 years, I did not develop liver cirrhosis. This was called as Indian childhood cirrhosis. And boys, the children would be bony, very nice personality, very well developed. At the age of 2, liver cirrhosis would begin. And with liver cirrhosis, within 2 years, jaundice and death. And so this Indian childhood cirrhosis, I was the only one, somehow I escaped. So there must be some God's grace. And then it took me to Mantralaya, heavily loading my body with gold and silver and all this. And then I unburdened there. And I was very impressed by the vibrations of that place. I am very vibration sensitive. And there was something in that Mantralaya place which was holy, which was sacred, which was uplifting. And so the conversion of mine began at the age of 11. And that's another story. Now, so up to the age of 90, in Sun City Center, my main occupation was teaching yoga and Bhagavad Gita to a community of about 30 families, which are Maharashtrians, and 1 or 2 from Tamil Nadu, 1 Punjabi family, and 1 Parsi family. They also were very devoted. And I used to teach, every Sunday they would come at 9:30 sharp and leave at 12:30 with prasad. So that was the routine. You have then been there for some days. And it was Gita, it was carried on. And then one night, you were not there, right? You were not there. Somebody sent me my most favorite food. What do you think it is?
So Puran Poli.
Puran poli. And there was also sajuk toop, and I helped myself. And at about midnight, I got a terrible feeling of unease. Terrible feeling of unease. That was not pain, but it was something all over the body. There was discomfort. And I suspected that this is something big, unusual. But I did what is called as Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is deliberate sleep using yoga as a technique. You know, you imagine you're across meeting a Prajna Namaka Paramatma and you try to embrace him. That is yoga. That is the very traditional system. And I got sleep. Then I got up next day morning. Nothing, no discomfort. But when I got up, I felt if I was a balloon, I'm leaking. The air is being deflated. There is no energy, nothing at all. Then some friend came to see me at about 8:30. I said, I must have a cardiogram. Then he said, but you have shown us that you have your personal cardiogram. I said, but it has no battery. So he rushed and brought a battery. Then I took a 3-lead home cardiogram. You know that you have seen. And it was fairly normal, slight reversal of T waves, nothing else. And then I have a very good friend who helps me. I called him, he didn't pick up. So I left a message. Balwant, whenever it's possible, I need to go to the hospital, come. But I didn't show enough urgency. So there was a gap between 12, 18 hours between the heart attack. It was a heart attack. And 18 hours of gap between the onset of the attack and the doctor in emergency to see. It is unforgivable in any country, not even here. Within half an hour or 30 minutes, you have to go there. And so the doctors were very concerned. You know, they were good friends of mine. My chief cardiologist used to attend my Gita class. So they were very concerned that their fear showed me in their eyes that it is about as near a jaws of the death as any. But I was very calm. But they said, the cardiologist said that, you know, you need immediate 2 stent replacement. And that stent replacement was done. But he was quite surprised that circulation is already on. So that means, you know, this heart disease must have obstruction must have been very gradual. And already anastomosis had started. So there was no really threat of death. But the whole atmospherics was very scary. And then 3 days they kept me in what is called as intensive care unit. And during these 3 days for me were days of severe introspection. Because I thought that this was a result of some arrogance, that I know yoga, I have come from a longevity family, I have nothing to fear. So that kind of a complacency and arrogance led me to this. And I forgot to tell you, there was also severe diabetes developing that time. Hypertension, diabetes, deadly combination, right? And so these 3 days, how could I be so foolish? I am capable of abusing myself. They call it as self-criticism. but it's a very healthy habit. Indian tradition excels in this self, looking at self and having a kick on your own pant. Right? Yes. Example, there is this Jitante Stotra. In Jitante Stotra, Brahmadeva, the creator God, prays to the supreme God. And it says, Pashanda dharma sanyukte bhagavad bhakti varjite kalau jatosmi devesha king karishyami. What can I do in this Kali Yuga? Traditions are all broken. Father and mother hardly know how to bring up a child. And everybody hardly believes in any God. They boast that God is not necessary in our life. And what else? Shariram mama devesha vyadivih paripiditam. When I look at myself, there are a number of diseases of the organs. There is diabetes, there is hypertension, there is backache, there is pain somewhere, there is arthritis. And so I'm incapable of even having good health. What else? Vani mama rishikesha mithya parushya doshita. Whenever I open my eyes, I project myself. I know all knowing. What do you know? Don't argue with me. Like this. So there is that arrogance. Vani mama rishikesha mithya parushya doshita. I don't always speak the truth. I exaggerate or I twist as it is convenient to me. And then, shariram mama deveshak vyadivih paripiditam. Mano me pundarikaksha vishayaneva dhavati. The mind is covets money, fame, recognition, and all this. How am I ever going to make progress? And this kind of a criticism is introspection. Admitting to yourself there is much to be desired in you. And then this moha of running after fame, running after anything, it disappears gradually. It's not important. Even the most sincere praise that you may shower on a teacher, I say, flattery is for public purposes, to show I respect him. And it pleases, however, but it does not fool. Right? So, this is all that slowly develops character. And that is introspection. And so, this is what I learned. I introspected. Your food is bad, you don't exercise enough, and your relationships are only based on building reputation. And so all this is leading to this terrible calamity of heart disease. There is no future. You become dependent. And being dependent is a very difficult thing, right? And so I said, I am going to reverse all this. My father, if he taught me anything, was strong will. So I can tolerate any pain. I can undergo any kind of difficulty, but I must achieve whatever I set my mind. And so the first thing I said is knowledge is power. So know everything that is to be there about aging. So I read in the next 3 months, some 20 books. All the articles in PubMed, they are available on aging. I learned so many things I didn't know. Junk RNA, its role and all this. The various biochemical, what are called as factors. Factors are number of genes, the function. All those I learned. And then after that, I found that my whole dinacharya is wrong. My rutucharya doesn't exist. I eat when I like, I snack every now and then, there's no plan in eating, there is no dietetic principles involved. And so I set to study all this. And then in the next 3 months was implementation of a plan when they discharged. The doctors were astonished, even in that short period, the way I recovered. Every echocardiogram was better than one before. And every cardiogram had more flattened T waves, etc. And ultimately a day came, the doctor announced there is no trace of heart disease. Diabetes almost was coming down. And today, if you see, that process still continues because that regimen continues. In any sugar, one of my friends who is there, I think he is here, his wife and they're wonderful people. And they specially called me when I visited India last time, and they knew that my favorite thing is Puran Poli. So they had prepared out of this world Puran Poli. And then, however, I had changed. So I told them no. And they were hurt, really hurt. I'm sorry, publicly apologize for that. And they were so hurt that they said, eat this much. I said, no. Why? Why did I say that? What is wrong in eating this? You tell me.
That would bring back your.
That will signal.
Signal. What is a signal? When you eat a little bit of peda, a signal goes up. It says carbohydrate is building. Immediately it goes. Even the intestinal commensals, your microbiome has got nerve endings. And they send a message to the world. And as soon as the message goes up, what happens to you? Insulin is secreted. And insulin secretion in large volume, our body cannot stand it. So immediately antibodies of insulin are formed, and you are sure to have type 2 diabetes. So that is the danger of eating sugar, sweet things, even occasionally. So remember, this is not a pleasant advice I'm giving you. But if you want to live at 90, 95, 100 with good health, sugar has no life, no role in your life. Sugar is poison. And in fact, you have to modify the diet so much that only oil comes from it. So this is the experimentation kind of a thing I began doing. And then by that time, in the last 5 years, how old are you has become a procedure of objective kind. There are 2 ages every one of you have got. What are those? Chronological age is the age based on your birth certificate, when you were born, how many years old you are. And then there is biological age, how good are all your organs, health index. How good is your heart, how good is your liver, how good is your brain, how good is your kidney. And then each one has a percentage. And they add together, that is called as your biological age. And they can be determined. Usually in the US, $4.99 is the standard price. And there are nationally known laboratories. So they take a piece of blood, and then after 8 or 10 days, a report comes. And they say your chronological age is 95, your biological age is so and so. I was very curious to see what is my biological age. And so I sent to 3 different laboratories. They all came with the same report that your biological age is 70 years.
So that is a good news. Means we can reverse aging.
Huh?
We can reverse aging.
You can what?
We can reverse aging.
No. The importance to appreciate here is, first of all, what must have happened? The aging process slowed down. Damage done was healed. And what happened? There was a point, there must have been a point when the aging stopped. The aging stopped. Otherwise, this would not come like this. And then the aging reversed. And this is the tattva which was known to Charak. The whole science of longevity here, but after reading Charak Savita, I didn't feel that it is explained. So it is up to you people to do research and say how rasayanas act. Is there any mention of, there were instances of Chiranjeevis. Bhishma was one of them. Then who else? Ashwatthama was another. Ashwatthama was there. Like that. So the longevity was known to old people, our ancients. In fact, that is why they prayed every day, Jivasva Jivema Sharadasyatam, Sunvama Sharadasya. Even these were not, sense organ age was normal. So that is the so-called secret which you wanted to know. Any one of you are willing not to have pain in the old age, there is only one way, imagination. You should picture yourself as a typical ill health old man, which are plenty to see. You see in your neighborhood, people are 75 and are already bent and there is no just in life, nothing at all. So if you don't want to, and then of course, the conventional wisdom of medicine is at 65 you have got at least one disease. You can't escape it because there are abiotrophies. The organs, there has to be in the motorcycle or in the car one part which is weak. And so that gives way. At 70, you have two diseases. And at 75 or 80, three diseases. And as you grow, there are more and diseases, cancer, liver cirrhosis, COPD, hypertension, dementia, and these show up. And they have to be, that is a terrible life to have. Then life is not worth living. So this is the secret, and I advocate with folded hands that try it out. You can be as healthy as I am, because I started at 90, remember. Before that, nothing. So if you are all younger, you can maintain your health. Not a day's this thing. Not only that, your personality changes. You have more glow, more just for living, like a child, enthusiastic. This is. So longevity is something worth cultivating.
In this journey, your hobbies, interests, like reading, they also played a very important role.
They have all changed. You know, I used to have, like everybody, a very ardent follower of cricket. Now I only play the cricket game with longevity, 96 not out. And 96 or not out is a very difficult thing because any moment a fast bowler can bowl you. And so you have to be very careful. And it's not that you have to live for 100 years. That is all silly. You don't know how long you live. It has nothing to do with how long you live. Next moment, while coming down, I may stumble and go. So that also brings another lesson. You should be ready for any eventuality. You are not going to stick to life like this. But the urgency is to do some good when you are there. So says the old wisdom, Ajaram arvatra pradnyo vidyam arthancha chintayat. As if you don't have death at all to face, you earn money for good, not for, because you can't take them. Take any money you have. There is no baggage carrier in that viman for you.
Yes, absolutely.
You have to go alone, not even with your clothes. So it's, don't accumulate more than you need. Dispose it off. And there is no sense in earning money to leave it to your children because you will spoil them. You know, we are all, many of us are better off because our fathers did not leave anything. So we have to earn and make our life. So that is the best thing, right? So these are small lessons which accumulate. They ultimately form what is called as the philosophy of life. And that philosophy of life is what you live for.
Sir, just now you said that our ancient medical traditions, like Charaka Sanhita, have a lot of knowledge. Our science of yoga has a lot of knowledge. So how do you think we can bring this knowledge in, integrative way in the modern medicine?
First understanding what Charaka must have written. What was it? It was not important to read Charak Samhita. It is important to know Charak's mind. You know, when Einstein was asked, what is your purpose? He said, I don't want to meet God. I want to know God's mind by which He created this wonderful universe. Symmetry, rules, such beauty, the whole cosmos. So I want to know the mind. Charaka's mind is, and I don't think many Ayurvedic physicians have understood it. It requires deep thinking, deep contemplation, and a good background of ancient this thing. And all what you people do is, Charaka is to be treated as something like Vedas. No questions. Girish and company had taken me to Bangalore once and to give what is called as scientists, no.
Vaidya scientist.
Vaidyas are to be trained as scientists. And they asked me to interact with them. I love interacting with young groups, especially intelligent groups. And they were so intelligent, all of them. And they were so knowing Sanskrit and they knew everything about Charaka. And so I asked one question, why do you take so literally what Charaka said? He lived long time ago. The species were different, everything was different, their way of life was different. So I want to ask you a question. Would have Charak invented more and clarified if he had an electronic microscope? And they were scandalized, as if I am giving them an electric shock. So absurd question. It was an insult to Ayurveda. And then 3 days later, they were converted to my point of view. So that kind of exercise of understanding in the perspective of, because modern science you people subconsciously hate. I know that. Modern, except that when making money you use injections, not you, but in the villages, even Ayurvedic graduates. So what is required now here is understanding the heritage in the context of today, because science is not wrong. You have to be scientific. Science is what can be proven, and it is evidence-based. Show me, it can be analyzed. Statistical methods can be applied. So don't falsify science. Use scientific words to advance Ayurveda. Show me a single science which has not grown in the last 10 years, last to 50 years. Everything, physics, chemistry. There was nothing that at Newton's time. Every science. Now show me the advances in Ayurveda in the last 10 years. Are there?
Yeah, there are many things happening.
And you people, Western kind of a medicine, you write, what is the mechanism of meditation written in an American JAMA, and you say you are very excited. You don't want to learn meditation from the West, but do research with scientific methods, what meditation does. And there the constraint is you have no equipment, no grants, and that is what, the Rajakarte here are terribly proud of this, our village. They should give, at least prepare one Ayurvedic laboratory which is second to none in the world. Biochemistry, animal studies, all these things should be done. Then Ayurveda will advance. So there is a lot to be done except praising Ayurveda with simply as tradition. It is our tradition, so we want to support it. I am speaking truth not to hurt anybody.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If there are any audience questions, then we can also take a couple of audience questions. Meanwhile, we are standing in this advancing modern world where at personal level and
As what?
at personal and population level we have many challenges. So you worked with international physicians for prevention of nuclear war. And how do you think that yoga can be useful for peace and harmony in the world? How yoga could be
No, I
used
didn't-
for world
I didn't
harmony and
underst-
peace.
I didn't follow the question. Can you say? Read it. Read.
You have great experience of working with IPPNW, which is an organization for world peace. In your opinion, how yoga can help for world peace and harmony?
If you read this book, it will tell you. There is a chapter called Meadow of Reflection in this.
Yes.
After climbing all these mountains, I came down within the company of 6 other yogis. And then we were in the last phases of this book, we come across a resident yogi and yogini. They guide us. And the conversation is very telling.
Yes.
And so they said this is a meadow of reflection. That means if you see in the pond, you get reflection of your soul. What you have developed, what is your deficiency, what you are advanced, how is your mind, what is remaining. And you look at this and then come and sit down here. Ask me questions. And one of the questions is this. In this turmoiled world, what my good friend Bhushan, we all both are writing a book called, Anthropocene. That means how much damage humankind has done on itself. It's a suicidal kind of a thing. Breakneck speed. There is greed. Everything is greed-based. Drug companies misguide doctors and all this. Versus what should be. And that is Om Way. Om Way means principles of Om should guide our life. And so in that, the one person gets up and say, in this difficult world, we talk about existential problems. You know what are existential problems?
We are creating harm for our own self.
The world is faced now with advances in technology, advances in science, the very danger posed for our very existence. One, for example, the nuclear testing has again started. The competition between superpowers has again started. Relationships are very bad. So the possibility of a nuclear war is again come. Artificial intelligence is used and misused. And that means, it's a threat to truth. And then there is a thing called artificial general intelligence. Somebody was said that they are studying artificial intelligence, one of your boys.
Yes.
Right? So what is artificial general intelligence? The trillions of dollars are poured by billionaires in America to develop a technology where artificial intelligence mimics the brain. That means the aim is to create an artificial brain itself, because no computer is as good as a brain. So once that develops, that computer also develops awareness. It develops a mind. And that mind is, they write algorithms to help human beings. They are well-intentioned. But the technique is such that it can be misused. Now let us say that it is not misused, but the real human, tomorrow I don't have to have somebody to look after me. In fact, a robot, a sturdy robot, I buy at half the price of my car and it looks after me. And it's so perfectly trained. Good morning, Raj. What can I do for you? Can I bring a cup of coffee or tea? And they said, no. Then what you want your favorite Tulsi tea? It will intelligently talk with me. It will give me bath. It will dry me. It will carry me and put me in one bed. And this model is already working in MIT, Massachusetts Institute of this. And it is supposed to cost about $10,000-15,000, which is not half of this thing. And they will become very prevalent. The danger is, it is meant to reduce my pain. So one day it will begin to think, this is a useless soul, not productive, not contributing to any country, anything to the country, he is not creative any longer, the best way of reducing his pain is to eliminate him. And when that thinking develops, the existential threat to humanity is there. And why it is likely to happen? The originators of AI have all resigned because they were afraid of this scenario. And then why it is likely to happen? Because the policies of safeguarding are still not in place. There is no international agreement of how to use the AI, how to govern it, who should keep all the codes and so that they are not harmful codes. And anybody can do. They create an image of yourself, and instead of you, the image is, it is possible today. You have seen that Therurs,
Yes.
two Therurs
Yes, two
speaking,
Therurs, yes.
ingenious. One man just puts you on a horse and you are standing here. So all these kind of things, and then in electioneering there will be frauds, there will be faults in our functioning of the government and everything, and so it's a terrible scenario. And so that is what can only way is everybody should become of yogic mind. Yoga is not for people who live in Himalayan caves. Yoga is for each and every one of the persons sitting here and for all of us. And that yoga is not merely doing jerks, howsoever elegantly they are shown. Yoga is to train the mind. Right? Thank you.
Aptly said, sir. Anybody in the audience has any question? Yes, let me just come to you. Can somebody pass the mic?
Sir, my name is Khandekar, and the question is resurgence of many diseases now happening, like polio. Polio is now, there is a vaccine-related polio recirculating in Africa. Also Germany, they are saying. So can yoga help in addition to whatever is done?
Resurgence of many diseases such as polio, and how yoga can help.
How I can help?
Yoga can help. Yoga.
I told just now how many diseases which are prevalent in me reversed, right? So yoga is a healing science. It stimulates your body immune mechanisms, it restores balance, it brings efficiency to systems, it increases waste disposal, and all this is built in yoga, the mind and the body exercise. It is practiced now in the form of what is called as body-mind medicine. Right. It is many, there are specialist body-mind medicines. So that is the way. And individually, if you practice yoga, half the diseases that may occur will not occur to you. And you can certainly benefit depending on extremes of heredity. If you have got a congenital defect or something, it cannot happen. But at least it prepares our mind to face it. So yoga is the way of doing this.
Thank you, sir. One last question.
गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन. मेरा एक सवाल था, मैं हिंदी में पूछ सकता हूँ?
हाँ, प्लीज़.
जी. एट करंट मेरी एज अभी 35 है और अभी अभी मैं कुछ सालों पहले डैड बना हूँ. सो मेरा एक सवाल है, क्योंकि बहुत समय से मैं इस सवाल के साथ जूझ रहा हूँ और मुझे जवाब नहीं मिल पा रहा है, और शायद मुझे लगता है कि आज मुझे इसका जवाब मिल पाएगा. क्या दूध इंसान के लिए बना है? क्या मैंने जितने साल दूध पिया है क्या वो सही है? क्या अब जो मेरी बेटी 2 साल की है उसे भी मैं दूध पिला सकता हूँ आने वाले समय तक? इसका मुझे थोड़ा सा जवाब चाहता हूँ. थैंक यू.
He wants to ask about milk, whether milk
You mean?
Milk. So whether we should use milk for children and for adults, whether milk is useful, very fundamental question.
Milk is useful. It depends on individuals. Some people have allergy about milk. And that is not so. It is not general question. It is if you drink milk and it energizes you, go on drinking milk. In fact, the basic rules of Ayurveda are three. Dinanteja pibet dugdham. म्हणजे at night drink a half glass of milk or 1 glass of milk. Nishanteja pibet payam. After the night is over in the morning, drink a glass of warm water. And bhojanante pibet takram. You drink buttermilk at the end of each meal. Then kim vaidyasya prayojanam. हे वैद्य लोकांना घेऊन काय करायचं मग तुम्हाला काय लागणार नाही असं तर that is the wisdom. So milk generally is good, but there are lactose sensitive people. There are people who cannot tolerate milk. For that you have to be specifically avoid milk.
Thank you, sir. So we are in university and we have many young students. What is your advice for our young students?
Young students, young students, I have 7 grandchildren. I interact with them and I am amazed with their skills and intelligence. The only thing is they are influenced by their peers. So the old culture is dying in this thing. And they are ambitious and we are not leaving a good world for them. We are guilty. The environment is broken, systems are broken, people have become corrupt, and all these young people need help. So what you should do is, you're all wonderful teachers, you should cultivate 10 young people and try to give them some wisdom of the old. The only thing is, I have a grandchild who is very intelligent. He says that I recognize you as a storehouse of wisdom. But what you should do is tell me something in 30 seconds. 60 seconds, I'll put it on TikTok and you will become famous. So that is the problem with them. Their knowledge is 5 miles wide, but quarter of an inch deep. And that has to be changed in children. And to the extent that you can. But children are very difficult to change.
Conclude. Sir, very, very interesting interview, and we think that should go forever, this such kind of interview. We will conclude with the last question. The last question about your favorite Subhashit. And
Last time also you asked this question.
yes, and the fun in Sanskrit. Why we should learn Sanskrit?
Why should
Learn Sanskrit and
that
then
question
Subhashit.
I'll answer first.
Yes, sir.
I was traveling England and Ireland. I visited what are called as signal schools. There are 8 Irish schools where Sanskrit is taught from the primary level. And I talked with the principal. He said, I went to India. For 12 years I studied Sanskrit there. Then I thought, I must teach my children here in Ireland Sanskrit. I said, why? He said that it is the mother of all tongues. I said, mother of all tongues, you are honoring it? No. They said, Sanskrit is Sanskriti. He used an Indian word. These children stand apart from the others who have not learned Sanskrit. They are respected, they are respectful, they are well-mannered, they are motivated, and they have a different altogether outlook in life. That is why you should learn Sanskrit, because all our wisdom is in Sanskrit. And translations abound, but translations distort usually according to who translates. So that's why Sanskrit. And in this country, Modi Saab was most impressed by the Irish schools. I know, I read about his interview, etc. But political pressures are such that, you don't want Sanskrit. So that is a misfortune.
And then your favorite Subhashit.
Subhashit.
There are many, I think, I know that there will be, you will talk about this for hours.
All right.
Yes.
How much time have I got?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yes.
I will tell you a story related to Sanskrit. They say there was 4 poets which were supreme in Sanskrit. Sanskrit topmost poets. Upama Kalidasasya. Kalidasa was known for his similes. Similes. Beautiful similes he uses. Bharaver Arthagauravam. Bharavi Kavi, known for the profound wisdom of his verses. Dandina Padalalityam. The beautiful phrasing and all this is Dandin. And they wrote about Magha, who has written Shishupalavad, famous lyric, famous, what is that called, epic. And he, Mage Santis Trayogunaha, he has known all this. So I was curious to know how Bharavi writes, because his writing is described as profound, deep. So Bharavi's, I looked up Bharavi's life and all this. So Bharavi's story is fascinating. I can go on, finish the story?
Yes, sir. Please.
Bharavi's story is like this. He was a very poor man. His wife was very unhappy that he can't earn enough. She had to work hard to make a living. So he said, what is this life of ours? We are toiling every day. We are even not certain of twice a meal. So do something. You are such a brainy. All the time you are writing. What is the use of writing? So he said, I have a plan. I said, recently the king announced that every Saturday he will come to the market. Whatever is not sold, he is going to buy. Whatever remains to encourage commerce in his subject, he is going to buy. So I will give him a poem because nobody will buy it. So he wrote a poem. Sahasa vidati tanakriyam aviveka paramarthat. Shrunuteva vimrshyakarnam gunameva labdha sampadaha. He said, never do anything rash. Certainly don't take decisions. Think about it. Think about its pros, think about its cons, and then deliberately make a decision. Never hurry, because everything requires logic, thinking, consequences of your actions, etc. So this is what will save you from many calamity, and do that. So at the end of the day, this poet couldn't sell it. So the king came, what is here? Oh, I said, oh, looks good. What is the cost? 1 lakh. He wanted all of a sudden that much. So he said, worth giving. This is a profound verse. So he gave 1 lakh and bought that. And then such a costly present, where should he put it? He went into his bedroom. This is a nice place, on the head of the board. Sahasa vidadita nakriyam aviveka paramasrudo sadhana. So then he forgot all about it. And then one day, he went for a hunt. And then his servant came to make the bed. So he said, I've never seen anything. How nice it must be to sleep in this bed. So cushioned, so soft. So he said, before anybody comes, 2 minutes I will going to test how the king's bed tastes. So he just went and slept there, took like this, and he fell deep asleep, covering his body like this. And then Mem Sahib came after half an hour. Food वगैरे संपून आणि ते म्हणाले मराठी सांगायचं म्हणजे अय्या ते आलेले दिसतात ते लवकरच आलेलं आहे ते हंटला जाणार होते वेळ लागेल असं वाटलं then anyway I don't want to disturb him. So she slept by the side. And the king came at about 12 o'clock. And he came and said, his wife sleeping with somebody else. खड्ग काढला. And the खड्ग असं काढल्याबरोबर, the खड्ग hit that board of the thing and the photograph fell down. Ha! Sasa vidadeta nakriyam. I can kill her, both of them, anytime. He wanted to cut off their head. But let me wait and inquire how this is possible. She knows I'm alive, I went to this thing. How could she do this? And ते उठवलं सगळ्यांना पोक करून. आणि तो तर अगदी शॉकच बसला त्या सर्वंटला. तो पळून गेला. आणि साहेब माफ करा, मला मारा. I deserve this. And he said, wait here. How guilty you are, I will find out, I will find a punishment. तिला विचारलं, काय? आणि तिला तर आश्चर्यच वाटलं, दुसरा मनुष्य आहे. She was discovered there. So she was innocent. And he loved her. So he said that poem saved her life. आणि मग संस्कृत स्वर्समध्ये शेवटी लिहिलं आहे, प्रत्यक्षाला लक्षम देतो. प्रत्यक्षाला लक्षम ददौ. म्हणजे काय? प्रत्येक अक्षराला 1-1 लाख दिलं त्या पोएटला. गुड स्टोरी. Okay. Now my thanks to these people for engaging me in talk, and this has been a wonderful session for me. My voice is not correct because as soon as I came to this country, this is not our fault. We are not accustomed to the dust and all this. But I've enjoyed every moment of my stay here. I came out for a personal work, and it got complicated. Shah met me, and then he honored me. Then Tillu came and said that you should come and talk to the university. And I remember last time I very much enjoyed that trip, that interview. So I want to agdi manapasna tumhala abhari आहे. Thank you.
Mandatai wants to express something in a minute. Okay, fine. Then we'll conclude with
Okay,
Shanti.
this was a lovely program and so many things to think about and take home with us. Thank you so much, sir. Let's conclude today's session with Shanti Mantra. Let's sit in an upright position. Join our palms together. Let's conclude this program with Purana Mantra. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
जीवेम सर्वशतम म्हण. जीवेम सर्वशतम.
Shatam. Om. Jivema sharadashatam. Prabravama sharadashatam. Shunveva sharadashatam.
मोदा पश्येम शरदशतम. मोदाम शरदशतम. प्रभवाम शरदशतम.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.